Hi everyone. In my today's topic, I am going to cover the concept of technology upgrade. Okay. Usually, we will develop our applications or software products in one version, and over the period of time, there will be multiple new versions or enhancements will be added. New features will be added to that particular programming language, and we may be required to upgrade to the higher version. Now, how to make this migration or technology upgrade, what points we need to consider, what are the key factors, that's what I'm going to explain over here. I'm taking an example of .NET Core framework over here. Okay. And what is the most important thing to know about key dates? Okay, because every product has a life cycle. Okay, the life cycle will start when the first release is done, and the life cycle will end when the framework or product is no more supported. Okay, so do remember this point. So according to this, we need to plan our technology upgrades. So usually the software developers or the framework developers share all these dates into their documentation. One such example is with respect to this .NET Core, where Microsoft has basically shared what are the key dates, basically when a particular framework version has been released, on what date they had provided various patches, and on what date the support is going to end. And that's the point where the developer community has to think about upgrading their product to the next available version. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's go through the documentation. Okay, so let's take an example. Okay, uh, usually there are three kinds of releases. Okay, uh, LTS release, long term support based releases. Okay, for which in case of Microsoft .NET Core, basically this kind of long term support releases get free support and patches for 3 years. Okay, and there is another category of release called current releases, which get free support and patches for only 18 months. Okay, so do remember that whenever we do a technology upgrade, we must consider LTS releases because they are long-term supports. They get patches. Okay, and also we will get the free support also. Okay, do consider this. Same applies for the, yeah, JDK or the Java framework, Python, or whatever programming language you are making use of to develop your application. Well, that said, let's have a look at a .NET Core's release life cycle. They have given a two example, basically the supported versions. That's what they are saying. Now, .NET Core 3.1. Okay, so I was making use of .NET Core 3.1 version for my application development. So if I go through the key dates, okay, the release date was 2019 December 3, and the latest patch they had provided was with this number, that is 3.1.25, and the patch release date was May 10, 2022. And if you see the end of support, they are saying that December 13, 2022. That means this year December, we are in the month of May, and this year December there will be no support for .NET Core 3.1. Now, this is an alarm. Basically, we are left with 6 months to get any new or free patches support for this particular .NET Core version, and we have to think about and we have to plan a proper technology upgrade to the newer versions. And how do I decide a newer version? Look over here, .NET 6 released in 2021. Okay, this is the patch number, patch release date 2022 May 10, and when the support is ending, that is November 12, 2024. Okay, so there is already 2 years remaining. Okay, there are almost 2 years remaining. So this is how you should decide. Now I have to make a migration to .NET 6 because my 3.1 support will end in 2022, and see, both are long-term support. Okay, now one important point I would like to highlight. Now today, if today or in the current month, if you are planning to start the development of a new product, then this decision becomes a key factor. Okay, just because both are long-term support, do not go with the .NET Core 3.1. Look about or have a look at end of support dates. Okay, if you have sufficient time for support, in case of .NET 6 still 2 years are remaining, then you should go with this version, not with this where in 6 months the support will end. Okay, hope this concept is pretty clear. Also, this kind of documentations, in this case Microsoft has also given which are the out of support version. Can you see the dates, guys? Basically, okay, from 2019 June 27, what are the various versions which have went out of support? You can still make use of these versions, but they are not at all supported, and it's a bad practice to use such framework versions to be used into your software systems. You should keep on updating. Okay, software development is a process of uh, continuous upgradation. Basically, okay, you should keep on upgrading yourself. So various .NET core versions which were released were 1.0, 1.1, 2.0, 2.1, okay, 2.2, 3.0, and .NET 5. So on May 10, 2022, that is 2 days before, .NET 5 also lost support. There is no support now, basically. So where we have to migrate, basically, it's a very obvious choice. We have to migrate to .NET 6. Okay, well, that is said. Preview releases, again I would like to give one, okay, I would like to yeah, warn you, never ever make use of preview releases for your new application development or for existing application itself if you are migrating to the newer version, because preview releases are basically the releases which are published for the public testing. Basically, if there are any faults, if there are any issues, the public can actually report such issues and they can fix them and actually make the final release. So never consider preview releases for your application development. Okay, I think that's pretty clear. And the release cadence, with respect to the example that I have taken, the .NET Core, just have a look at release cadence. What they are saying is we will publish new major releases of .NET every year in November. They are clearly mentioning that at what month of year they release their major releases. I think this is sufficient, guys, to decide and plan our technology upgrades. So, so enabling developers, the community, the business to plan their roadmaps. Even numbered releases are LTS releases, long-term releases, and get free support and patches for 3 years. Odd numbered releases are current releases that get free support and patches only for 18 months. So obvious choice that we should have is always LTS. So with a timeline diagram, they have shown an example. .NET Core was basically a LTS support, which was released in 2019. So 19 to 20, 20 to 21, 20 to 22, 3 years. So in the month of December in this year, so support will end for 3.1. And the current release which is going on is .NET 5. Okay, there was patch available for 18 months, and I think that has ended in May 10th. That is 2 days before the support has ended. So .NET 5 is also not an option for me. Then what is the available option for me? Can you see here .NET 6? This is a LTS support, and there is a support till 2024. That is 21 to 22, 23, and then 24. The dot over here. So my obvious choice will be .NET 6 LTS. Pretty much clear, it seems. So various release times, long-term support that I have already explained, current releases that I have already explained, and then the preview one, as I said, preview releases are typically not supported, but they are offered for public testing ahead of the final release. A preview or release candidate releases are supported through Microsoft Developer Support only if they are specifically designed to, okay, designated to go live. Okay, never ever consider preview releases for your application development. Okay, so that's it from this particular documentation. Okay, and what are the various support types? Full support, maintenance support, end of support. So full support, during the full support period, .NET releases are updated to improve functional capabilities and mitigate security vulnerabilities. Functional improvements are typically very targeted and may address the following, like resolve reported crashes. If some developer community has reported some crashes, those will be resolved. Resolve severe performance issues like performance related problems, okay, algorithms taking more time, or maybe something related to the product. Okay, resolve functional bugs in mainline scenarios, add support for a new operating system version or new hardware platform. So this is called full support. Maintenance support, during the maintenance support period, .NET releases are updated to mitigate security vulnerabilities only. Okay, the maintenance support period is the final 6 months of support for any release. After the maintenance period ends, the release is out of support. Okay, end of support, which means EOL, basically it will end. So there will be no further updates, no further patches, and no support from the Microsoft itself. Okay, in case of this example that I have taken. Well, that's explained. Now I would like to highlight on some key factors with respect to technology upgrades. Okay, first thing, the first factor when you do the technology upgrade is always support long-term support, which has sufficient um, buffer time for you in order to do the next upgrade. Okay, one such example I shown you, there was .NET 3.1, there was .NET 6. 3.1 was ending on December 2022, so hardly we are left with 6 months, and .NET 6, which whose support will end in 2024. So .NET 6 has a more buffer period, so obviously my choice will be to go with the .NET 6 upgrade. Okay, now always remember, just technology upgrade doesn't mean that you just go to your project file and make it point to the latest LTS version that you wanted to upgrade. No, you have to make use of the latest and greatest features available in that version. Okay, with respect to the language features, the new constructs introduced, maybe some good algorithms they would have introduced, or new libraries or new classes they have introduced. Basically, that's what you have to understand. You have to read the documentation and you have to make use of that. Okay, so always remember, dot the technology upgrade is not only upgrading the version number in your project file, it's all about making use of those good features. Okay, third most important point, always plan your technology upgrades by considering the key dates which are given in your framework's documentation. Always have a look on this information, always keep track of these things. Okay, and plan at least 3 months before. Okay, at least 3 months before, so that you can properly go through the documentation, you make use of all the good features available in the programming languages, and yeah, you can get a good upgrade to the newer version. Okay, and you can do a good refactoring of your application also. Okay, and fourth most important point, the moment you do a technology upgrade, okay, your application will start breaking. Okay, you may for example, you may encounter that some libraries which you have not upgraded will immediately start throwing exceptions, like the method not found, the class not found. So these kind of things will happen. So what you have to do is, the moment you do a major upgrade, always check for the library, the whatever dependent libraries you have, always check for their latest version also with the major upgrade you are doing with the .NET Core or .NET. Okay, so in order to keep things in sync. Okay, obviously applications will break, you will see some discrepancies in the application behavior, you have to identify one by one and you have to fix them. Okay, I hope this concept is pretty much clear for you people. Okay, so these are the key factors you need to consider. Okay, and one more point that I would like to mention, CI/CD, most important thing I forgot to mention. The moment you do a technology upgrade, you have to go to your CI/CD build pipelines or release pipelines, or your resources, like it may be your, you may be hosted your application on a physical server, or it may be on a cloud like Azure. What you have to do, you have to go to your build pipelines and you have to point the correct version of library, or a new library version that you are going to use, or the framework version that you are going to use. Same applies to the release pipelines, and then your Azure or your physical hardware resources. I would like to take an example of Azure App Services, where we basically host our web application. So in App Service, they have given a section of configuration where you have to go and select your target framework. Now, if you have decided to migrate from .NET 3.1 to .NET 6, you must see that option in the drop down of that app service. So simply go to that app service, go to the configuration and select the .NET 6 where you are migrating, and save it. Okay, do remember this point. And if you fail to do this, the app service or the runtime environment thinks that you are still making use of old framework, and it will start throwing exceptions, that the feature that you were using in your source code is not available with the target framework that you used to run it, or you used to compile it. Okay, I hope uh, these points are pretty clear here. I hope this video will help you in making key decision when it comes to the technology upgrades. Okay. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day, guys. Thank you.